Hello. You'll have noticed the title of this video. Yes, you may have already experienced a visceral, emotional reaction to the sentence before you've even examined in what context in which it might be said. How dare you call me a bad person? You're a bad person. You're so good at debating, my dude. For many years now, at least once or twice, I've tried to get this through to people. There is no such thing as a bad person or a good person. At least these are useless concepts outside the realm of vacuous pathos, or whatever standards you set for yourself in your own internal self-value. And even there, it's not exactly necessary. You don't get to make that arbitration when it comes to anyone but yourself. A person is just a human being with a personality. And there's no such thing as a human being without a personality, like a body without a shape. It's the stuff of nonsense. If you are still alive, you are good at being a person. That's it. You're proficient at some activities, you're mediocre at other activities, and you're abysmal at other activities, but when it comes to being a person, you are acing it every second you continue to breathe. Let me guess, you're already forming an argument in your head, constructing your idea of what a bad person is, somehow objectively, but person, blah, 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 therefore opinion, blah. Even though when you're faced with the decontextualized argument that you are a bad person, you instinctively lash out against it, right? I'm not a bad person, and I don't care how many people tell me I am. I know I'm doing the right thing, which makes me completely different from all the other people who think they're doing the right thing but actually aren't. Moral relativism isn't necessarily a universal evil, folks. There is a time and a place for it, and that place is the realm of behavior, not personhood. Behavior can be redeemed by different behavior, or by relative circumstances. Personhood is what you are, from the moment of your birth to the moment of your death. Ask yourself, have you ever been convinced to change your ways as a result of someone telling you you're a bad person? You haven't, have you? Change your behavior or else you're a bad person. Has that ever worked on you? Has that ever made you change your behavior? Absolutely not, because it's an absurdly reductive statement. And yet when the tables are turned, you will, at the drop of a hat, arbitrate to any given opponent what a bad person is. If it's never worked on you, why do you think it would work on anyone else? Because you're being lazy. That's why. Worse than lazy, actually. To describe anything with the childish adjectives of good or bad is just lazy. And this is excusable if you're speaking off the cuff and off script. Sometimes you're in a hurry, and in the hurried moment, you can't quite think of a descriptor any more elaborate than good or bad. That's fair enough, I suppose. And if it's something that's not all that important, if it's a yes or no question, okay, good means yes, bad means no, whatever, that's all you need. But that doesn't apply to someone's status as a person, because that is all that important. If you connect the lazy adjective of bad or good, or better, to the all-encompassing noun of person, then you're not just lazy. You're a lazy, fundamentalist virtue signaler. That's what that is. You will write off someone's entire personhood, someone's entire mind, body, and soul as just plain bad because they exhibited a behavior you don't like. To repeat, you know that's not going to get through to them, because you know it would never get through to you. In such an instance, you're not trying to get through to anyone, you're just saying useless, unproductive words in order to load the argument with irrational emotion. It's like saying bad dog. Why do you say bad dog to a dog? Dogs don't understand the meaning of the word bad, or the word dog, or indeed any word, not in the intellectual way that humans do. And you know that. You're not saying it for the sake of the dog's understanding. You're saying it for the sake of getting your own emotions off your own chest. But a dog can at least eventually learn to associate certain vocal sounds as reactions to its behaviour. You might as well be making a high-pitched grunt followed by a low-pitched grunt followed by a medium-pitched grunt, so that the dog learns through sort of dopamine pathways to associate that series of sounds as the reason their current behaviour is not earning them a treat. And that is at least understandable. That is at least effective when dealing with a creature that doesn't understand words. The words you're choosing to use are just sounds that are emotionally convenient to you and sonically learnable to the dog. When you say bad person to a person in the same way, again, all you're doing is using sounds that are emotionally convenient to you. A human being doesn't alter their behaviour based on the words bad person, other than as a series of sounds designed to demoralise them into getting a treat or not getting punished. If it ever does work on a human, it's because you've demoralised that human into a Pavlovian form of mind slavery. So it's just as well that it doesn't work, eh? Or that would make you something of a colossal piece of smeg. You don't often hear someone say bad child to their child, or to any child. You understand viscerally that this would be an indefensibly abusive thing to say to a child. Because there's no such thing as a bad child. There's only a child exhibiting behaviour that will not serve the best interests of themselves or anyone around them. Bad behaviour, if you will. Well, guess what? A child is just a kind of person. What you call a bad person is just what you would call a bad child, but who was never conditioned out of their bad behaviour. And if you couldn't get through to them when they were a child, you're certainly not going to get through to them when they're an adult. Certainly not with an empty emotional sound like bad. And even if you do, you've made a rather egregious moral mistake. According to some intelligence in the field, it's important to be sparing with the word no when it comes to raising children, because if a child hears no every 10 minutes for its entire upbringing, it becomes nothing more than a meaningless sound. But if you save it for when it's truly important, they will truly understand what no means. You need to differentiate between a sound that means the square peg doesn't go in the round hole, dear, and a word that means don't put that metal fork in that main socket. One of these things is orders of magnitude more urgent than the other. Every second counts when a child is jamming a fork into a main socket, and you don't want them zoning out your noises and thinking to themselves, well, maybe if I twist it a bit, it'll fit in the hole. Similarly, you need to be as sparing as possible with the word bad, or it becomes a useless word. As they say, actions speak louder than words. All you really need in such a scenario is to make a loud noise. The loudest noise you can possibly make. That's what will stop them electrocuting themselves. Doesn't even matter what the word is, as long as it's a sound loud enough to distract them from what they're doing. It can't possibly traumatise them as much as 240 volts will traumatise them. When it comes to adults, however, adults exhibiting ongoing, repeated bad behaviour, loud noises will not cut it. No given singular word will cut it either. You need to actually explain to them, in as much detail as possible, exactly what is detrimental about their behaviour and why. Especially if it is an adult who is already long since accustomed to loud noises. An adult who's already long since accustomed to being told no. An adult already long since accustomed to being told you're a bad person. It's water off a duck's back. There is no feasible reason to do it. You're just addicted to pouring water on a duck. Even though you yourself are a duck who thinks nothing of having water poured on you. It's okay to be judgmental if your judgment is specific and indeed laudable. You're a bad person is neither. That's why judges don't say it. That's why teachers don't say it. It is as puerile as it is puritanical, and it's pathetic. It's the kind of judgment one would expect to hear from a child with an undeveloped vocabulary and an irrational emotional state. When an argument develops into two people calling each other a bad person, it's no longer an argument. It's just a slap fight. A slap fight that you're perfectly free to have, but you're not going to get anywhere. All you'll do is switch off the brains of those who already agree with you and come across as vapidly judgmental and silly to those who do not. It's a clear sign that you're not even trying anymore, on account of already being lodged in the cockpit of your comfort zone where you don't have to try anymore. But to reiterate and summarize, that doesn't make you a bad person. It makes your behavior detrimental to anything worthwhile or constructive. Please just do better. Do feel free to post a link to this video next time you hear that rather silly phrase. Keep an ear out for it. It'll probably come up sooner than you think, on any given side of any given conflict. Maybe we can catch ourselves when we're being so unproductive, and together we can help each other sharpen each other's wits. Or don't. Say what you like, it's a free country. Kind of. Go ahead and say the most childish thing you can think of. It might not be long before you're not allowed to say that anymore. Whatever. Alright, bye-bye. All the best. Be a good person and hit the notification bell, etc., etc. Be sure to follow me on alternative media. And by that, I mean any media that is alternative to wherever you're listening to me now. Nowhere is safe. So branch out as much as you can. Everything collapses. Everybody dies. Nothing matters. Nobody belongs anywhere. Come watch TV. Laters.